Yo.
Hey,
sounds a little quiet.
Good.
Is it good?
It's better to
At least
have
it's
it
consistent.
like this.
Yeah, then you can
we
boost it higher.
expand
Yeah.
God dang it, man. Gosh darn it. We're back.
through trials and tribulations.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And we'll see. But anyways, this is the All or Nothing Show. My name is Austin, and I got the co-host, the boys.
The boys, Brock.
Brock.
Griffin.
And I'm hoping this sounds amazing. It probably is going to. Cut. We're going to take a quick commercial break to one of our sponsors. Well, actually, our only sponsor, Trick2G. This show would not be possible without him.
Yeah. So we've recorded like 2 or 3 episodes, I feel like, over the past 2 months that have just been like deleted. And so many technical issues. And we were talking about it today. I feel like, we've made so many upgrades to like the setup, and then everything's just gotten worse from it.
Yeah.
Until
Somehow.
Yeah, but Trick donated a mixing board. We got a temporary mic here.
Laptop.
And the laptop.
Yeah,
and so
now we won't have pauses.
yeah, no pauses. Shit'll be together.
We're
Probably sounds
fully
way better.
sponsored by
fully
Trick2G.
sponsored.
So check him out.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're starting today off. We've all sort of had this drink. We've actually had quite a few of the 3Ds, but this is the Citrus Mist, and we're going to go ahead and crack them open, boys. Yeah. I think the last time I had this on the show, Miles was on the show with me. So I don't think we really gave it a good, honest review back then. I think I was doing 1 to 5s and shit like that. So let's give it a good
decimals.
Our good refresh scale score.
Because this is definitely my favorite 3D, and we talked about it with Landon. This was his favorite 3D too.
And by the way, I've already had one today, so just as good as this first one.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I'm going 8.3.
Oh damn! Stole my number.
No, we can be
8.3
synced
buds.
in. Yeah.
All right, I'm an 8.3 as well. This thing's fire.
6.2.
Oh my.
Yeah, no, I remember he told me he doesn't like this one.
I don't
He
really
doesn't like
any
any
of
3Ds.
the 3Ds.
He told me he doesn't like any 3Ds.
You just
I
hate,
thought
you
he was being
hate
a
Christian.
big bitch.
I
Yeah.
just like high carbonation and high flavor, and I feel like this is like
He is a big
step
carb.
above
Bang is
LaCroix.
you're a bang guy.
He is a big
Yeah.
carbonation guy.
I'm a bang head.
bang.
What is the what does the CEO say?
If you ain't banging, you
Yeah.
ain't hanging.
That's true. That's
Yep.
my life motto, brother. I want to be like 53, dyeing my hair black like that guy.
And punching the camera.
Yeah.
He's a boss though, for real. I mean, I follow him, and even though he's like in his own world, dude's a killer. Over $1 billion.
Dang.
That-
and
that
I think
company.
they just got bought by like Coke
Pepsi or Coke or something. Yeah.
I still think Reigns are better. They're just a little
So-
less carbonated because I don't love it like killing my throat.
Yeah.
One thing
like
I
the
would
flavor
say, I
better.
don't know if you guys feel like this about this drink, but to me, a big thing with the 3Ds is I almost feel like I can taste like the sugary syrup separate from like the carbonation. It doesn't feel like it's mixed. I feel like my
With
first
these.
sip, like first hit, is the carbonation, and then I feel like I get this syrupy, like almost like a whey protein kind of linger on your tongue. You know what I mean?
I don't get it. I mean, I understand the protein
Yeah.
reference, but
I get what you're saying, but I don't notice it that much. Not enough that I would notice it before you said that.
Oh, gotcha.
I think you're just being.
no.
Yeah, I just love bitching.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
No.
Yeah.
This man's an alpha over here with all these wolves on the shirt. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, we had to switch positions because I was intimidating him too much
Yeah.
sitting across
Yeah.
the way.
I can't make eye contact
Yeah.
with him. He stares into my soul.
Getting goosebumps.
Who let the dogs out?
Yeah.
So, let's talk. Look at a little recap. I guess it's been a few weeks. Obviously, definitely a month. So,
Yeah.
I guess you can give a recap of the gym. What's been going on here since we're in the gym? Obviously.
Yeah.
now.
What are we, 2-3 weeks out from?
No, we're not in the gym. We're in HQ,
Well, we're in
which
Gymflo
happens
HQ.
to be in the gym.
Which we're in. Look us
You know
up.
what Maddie mentioned the other day? She saw that you put the address for Gymflo at our gym.
Yeah.
Which it is,
It's
but
sweet. What do I need to make it? Sweet
F.
Z.
No, you put Sweet F.
Gen
I just
Z?
think it's funny because it's like
It's gonna be confusing.
someone drives, you're like, where is it?
It's in the back.
Looking for the
It's in
gym.
the back.
What are those called? A speakeasy when you gotta like.
Yeah,
you
that's
have
what
to
it
have
is.
the passcode, yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta know where it is. You know. What
But
I'm saying? You gotta
anyway,
be on
so the gym's
end.
going great. A lot of finishing touches have come the past week or so. We got 3 weeks basically till open. So we're opening on November 1st. If you don't follow the page and haven't heard, so opening on November 1st. Working on getting exact details as far as like brands and what they'll be, or at least to what extent they'll be here.
Yeah.
I know freaking. Of course, Gymflo will be here, but Austin will not. He'll be surfs up in Bermuda, just sipping
Island
a pina
time,
colada.
baby.
Yeah, Natter Day.
No, rum, probably rum.
But Gymflo will be represented obviously in a good big way, and we should have Overcome on tap, I believe, which is super fire. Hopefully it's a hot sunny day because that'll really hit with the Overcome. We have Naughty and Nice, which is a baking company that kind of makes like these Rice Krispie macro-friendly type snacks. Super good. They were at a party in the gym.
Yeah, the best thing about them too is that it's different kind of cereal. So like if you can imagine a Rice Krispie treat, but with cinnamon toast crunch. Or like cocoa
the
pebbles.
cinnamon are really good. The cocoa pebbles are good. So we're excited about that. And she's obviously a small local company, so it's nice to kind of support her back as she kind of comes here and supports us and the people that are coming. Working on. So 10,000 is going to be a sponsor of not only the event, but the gym, really. So, to what extent kind of we'll probably have events throughout the year that they're a part of. But as far as this event specifically, I don't know exactly to what extent they're going to be here, whether they'll have a table, they'll send a rep or something, or whether we'll just have their kind of shorts on the rack so you can kind of see them. But that's something to think about if you're a male, because they do make men's apparel for the gym. So
also, I'll speak up about 10,000. Give me or Griffin a shout because we will soon be wearing some.
Yeah, so part of them sponsoring the gym is they hooked up the male coaches, quote unquote, but basically the trainers of our gym.
Give you some feedback.
With some kits, yeah. So I've obviously been repping them for a while and I have a lot to say about them. And so I've been repping them for a while. I'm trying to get them to both buy. Griffin's bought the shorts and loves the session shorts. So
speaks for you.
yeah. Yeah, shut up. But anyway, it's 10,000. And then also the last sponsor that I know we'll have at the event will be the Short Pump Nutrition Corner. So they'll have a table set up with samples and apparel, shakers and things of that nature. So opening day will be super sweet. It's going to be November 1st. 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. is the event time. That'll be a free open gym, so you don't have to be a member to come lift. And after that, of course, it'll be regular hours until I think we close 9 on Sundays. And then the gym will just be open from there on out.
Dang, it's weird to think of like, after that day, it'll be completely different in terms of.
It's going to be very weird because we're
going
to be here at 5. I'm leaving the gym probably like 6-ish p.m. And then Maddie's will be here until 10 closing. She'll come home.
Shift.
I'm out. I'm sleeping, getting up at 4. It's going to be weird. It's going to be hellish. I think we'll have to do it for minimum a month, but I'm hoping there's enough success that we can hire someone soon after. But we shall see. But excited about that. A lot of finishing touches, like I said, are coming around the gym. Mostly decorative stuff or little things like a bench in the back and like the lobby space, cleaning up some areas. As far as equipment, nothing too major. We just had a bar come in today, a Deadlift Texas bar. We got 5 Texas Power bars that should be shipping soon and be here by opening. And that'll be really it. Other than that...
Now, those bars will be like the one we got today or the
correct.
One that we got earlier?
They'll be like the regular bars. So they'll be power bars, so meaning they'll have the center knurling. So it'll be good for squats, deadlifts, bench press, kind of all around use. The deadlift bar is a little bit different. I think the diameter of the handle or kind of where you're grabbing, I guess it's the shaft.
The shaft.
Or is
the
that?
rod.
Yeah. But anyway, but that's a little bit thinner by like 1 millimeter or something small.
Yeah, Princess and the Pea.
But anyway, and also it doesn't have center knurling. It allows for a little bit more whip, so that's why it's a deadlift bar. But anyway, so we have one of those, and we'll have 6 total Texas Power bars. So knurling will be fresh. It'll cut your hands. So if you got gloves, if you need gloves, you're one of those guys, bring them. Otherwise, Keith, you listening? But otherwise, it'd be great. I'm excited about it. Excited about opening. We got one more decal on the wall. We got to fix the cable row before open, obviously, which is just swapping out a cable. And other than that, we've all been lifting here. Clients have been enjoying it. We have kind of like a few members under the table in a way, really close friends that are paying for the month. But besides that, can't wait to really open up to the public and be a legit business and business owner. And that'll be cool.
Too, just to speak on really quick, that I've been really liking is like week after week, just the little aesthetic changes, like the decals or the bench or something like that today that came in. It's nice to see, and it's one of those things I feel like you kind of just feel the change or like feel the upgrade or something like that. It just makes it feel that much more like complete, or like the the feeling that you're going for is solidified that much more too with each little thing. And it's like one of those things where everything would be fine without it, but like, you know, the rope anchor to the wall, like the decals, other things like that. It's like, I
think the difference is like most gyms, you know, they kind of have everything. Like when you first sign up, they have everything. They've usually been there for a while. And so it's rare for a company to kind of like buy a new attachment, buy something decorative like you mentioned, or buy a new machine. Like sometimes Golds will get in some new stuff, but it's that escape your limits crap. But you know, so you know, especially with us being small and everything, it's kind of like we're constantly making these upgrades. So like, you know, you're seeing it now because we're doing all this before opening. So you know, we got a Stairmaster in. Like you mentioned, the decals made a big difference just in like the visual appearance. That's kind of subconscious, but once it's there, it's like you really notice it. But even like, you know, we have a preacher curl and a really nice glute drive Nautilus kind of hip thrust machine that's already been bought, and that'll be here like late November-ish. And just every time I think we're buying these new machines, I feel like, you know, if things go as planned, like I was telling you, I think last week, like we'll have the funds to basically buy like 1 to 2 new machines like every month.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we won't do that forever, and there's obviously some savings and where money will go elsewhere. But just to have that flexibility and know that like I'm not relying on the gym for purely like profit, and that all the money that is made whenever someone buys a shirt, whenever someone buys you know, membership, it's all going towards the equipment. So you're basically investing in a place that you get to go. And so it's very different.
The other thing I would say too that I think is just interesting that you've been talking about is, you know, if you find a better product or better deal or something like that, like, you know, it's not just set in stone, some of the equipment that's here already.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, to me, I would probably feel like if I already spent money on it, put effort into picking it up,
You're
it's like,
meh.
I don't
It
want
stays.
Yeah, it's here. But I do appreciate the like always looking
Always
for a little
evolving.
bit better. Yeah. Eugenics.
Well, like specifically, I know the leg extension that we got, you know, from Doug and the boys up there. Of course, they forgot to mention a little detail about it, to where it works great, it feels good, it's still a good piece, but it definitely, you know, there's a few inches left where you'd like to kind of have a stretch on the leg extension. So I think what we'll end up doing is upgrading that piece, because it definitely does the job. Like I said, now it's not a piece of crap, but again, like you said, like I want it to be the best of the best. If we're only going to have one leg curl and one leg extension, I want them to be killer pieces.
Yeah.
So we're going to, you know, take our time, try and make sure we get that other Cybex leg extension that I really like. If not, there's a Nautilus I'm thinking about. But a nice leg extension that I really enjoy, that I'm super confident about and excited for people to try. But that's just one of those things. It's going to be a little tricky to sell that guy. But we'll get it done, and we'll just, you know, deal with the consequences after that. But like you said, just always evolving, always growing.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about it, yeah.
That's the other thing, too, is it's been fun the past couple weeks, too, to start to get a taste of, like, what things will be like more so on a regular basis. And I've been really enjoying just,
As you've been here.
training clients, filming some content,
Yeah.
working on editing stuff, and having it feel very streamlined. And then also, not only that, but just feeling like, you know, every day we can create something. It doesn't have to just be like, oh, can we plan for 2 weeks from now? And then something maybe falls through. And then, oh, well, you know, we'll give it a try next time. It's nice to at least feel like we got a central hub to work out of. And then everybody's just kind of like ready and willing to get everything going. So it feels good to just at least, you know, be able to kind of continuously create stuff, put stuff out. And I feel like that'll just continue to grow.
Oh, yeah. Boss Babe Empire.
Yeah.
Boss
I
Babe
definitely
Land.
loved it. Now that, you know, you got your computer and your setup. I mean, like you said, like I just feel like whenever I want to record a workout, I have all my shit in my office. Or like
Such
whenever
a
I
quick
need
turnaround.
Yeah, whenever I want photos, you know, you're right here. You can edit it literally in the
Let's
office.
talk about that. Like, the gym just somehow naturally came with great fucking lighting.
Oh, the lighting's killer.
And like once the mirrors went up, like the mirrors were perfectly
yeah.
fucking placed. Like
the mirrors
epic.
look sweet.
Oh,
Yeah.
like both mirrors, even the one
decal
that's like
above the mirror.
Yeah. Real sick.
Noteworthy. Yeah.
Oh, well,
love
I
that
can't wait
thing.
till the decals show up in the other room as well. But
Yeah.
like, there's no bad like spot really to be under the light. Like there's no
No.
like, oh, this spot. I mean,
And
there
you know
is some
what's
better
funny
spots,
is like
but all of them are
the
good.
way the lighting is structured in the machine room. Even it's like there's a machine under each light.
Yeah.
And we kind of planned it, but kind of didn't.
No.
And it just fell into place, and I think it just looks sweet. Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say like perfect, but with the natural lighting of the doors, if they're able to be open, plus the lighting, the mirrors, I mean, it's just a trifecta of like
is nice,
craziness.
True.
Yeah.
What are you looking at?
I was just looking to see the order of the microphones.
Okay.
So, no worries.
Yours is third.
Okay, gotcha.
Last. Yeah.
Oh man.
But no,
best
it is.
last.
It is so. I just feel like there's so much we can do. I mean, other than just filming some stuff for Instagram, but I know
sure.
for you, I'm sure it's been great.
Huge.
Like planning content, like just being able for me to walk down, the hall, shoot some ideas to you, us figure something out,
Yep.
put it on the books. He comes in a few hours later. We're like, hey, let's shoot this.
Yep.
I mean, it is just so efficient. I think for our businesses, I think for your freelance business, and just being around each other is it's a lot of fun.
And to me, too, it's like not having to tack on that editing work in the beginning or end of the day when I'm at home. Just, it's just kind of been something I've taken in stride the past few years of like almost having like homework as work of like, okay, well, got to do this. And it feels so much better now to get just an instant turnaround and like have things done same day, which I'm usually not used to. Because at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, well, I got to wrap up, got to make dinner, like this, and that. So it's nice to have that, and then B, just to kind of separate like work and home a little bit more, which is always nice too, because it's not just, I don't know, coming home to then do more work.
When you had a hell schedule, like the way your clients kind of work, and it's not to their fault, but they're spread out so much that it's like you have these weird gaps. You can't drive home because then you got to drive immediately back. If you bring your computer, though, you're not, the gym you were previously at, I feel like you couldn't really just pop up in an office like you can here and, grab a snack, grab a drink, sit down on a desk, get things done. It's just way more efficient, I think, for your lifestyle and your work right now. For all of us, for sure.
For real,
Yeah.
because we're able to be in under one roof, and knock out every single business that we have.
Yeah.
Like, literally. From everything, training, editing, video.
Take some notes, Christian Guzman.
I mean, that's the main reason. I mean, a huge like driving factor behind us just partnering all together is just to be able to like create more, like not 10x, but like 2x everything at least.
But I mean, it's like, for you to move out of, the previous HQ
Mom's house.
and everything. Yeah, mom's house. It is a financial like investment, and obviously it needs to have some kind of yielding benefit, some like return, because otherwise it's like you're just from one place to another. But I think just in like the full kind of month and a half you've been able to really settle in here. I think October's been a good content month. We're only like 10 days in. I think there's a lot left, and I think the more planning that goes into to Gymflo, to content, to future ideas, flavors, whatever, I think 2021 will be a big year and everything.
For sure.
Another thing too, I don't know if you remember a couple years ago, Austin, but when I had first gotten my gimbal, that was like one of the first kind of more so work related purchases I had ever made for filming stuff. And I texted Austin right after I bought it because it was kind of a big investment.
They're expensive.
And I was like, now we can like change our game. We can like step things up, make things like dream a little bit bigger in terms of what we can maybe create or do. And it is one thing that I feel like, especially now that we're here, I've been thinking a lot like that too lately, of just, it's been fun almost every day now to almost just think more so like, okay, well, what's the next thing we can do? What's the next thing? And even some things that are kind of spur of the moment, like the other day, we just shot some product against the wall, but like it was fun to just kind of set that up and almost make as much of a studio like look as we could, even just getting like a whiteboard as like a little reflector and like arranging some stuff a certain way. But I will say it's a lot of fun, like even some of the just smaller like spur of the moment things, to just be able to have like all of us here, like, and just kind of play around with it until we find something we like too.
Yeah, it does allow you just to dream big a little bit more. Yeah. And like I don't know, I'm excited about it. I feel like what I've talked about for a while is like to you personally is being more involved with Gymflo, because I feel like the gym is we haven't even opened yet, so I'm acting like it's over. But the gym is obviously like phenomenal and something that I want to continue to grow and build. But it is one thing that like obviously it's only really accessible to people locally. It is one of those things, it's like a physical location, so there's a lot of pros to that. But something like, Gymflo can really be something that has such a high ceiling, with just kind of the grassroots upbringing, the attention to detail, the genuine and like integrity feeling that comes with the products and brand. I'm excited just to kind of really, I feel like, give it the consistent attention and focus to detail and like mental investment. I feel like that you've been able to put forth a lot into it, but sometimes you can't just do everything on your own.
No.
And you can't see it on the
wanted
outside.
To ask you, Austin, because I feel like the past few years, for better or worse, it really has kind of been a one-man band, one-man show for everything with Gymflo. But now that we're all in here, like, both Brock and I, like, we want to help you as much as we can as far as just, brainstorming stuff, growing stuff, like, sky's the limit for whatever you want to do. But does that ever, like, do you ever feel like then now you're losing kind of some element of control of your own thing? Or do you like having...
I would rather Gymflo be a group effort or a team thing, because I don't know. I see it, that like when I envision Gymflo at scale, I envision it being multiple, I guess, attitudes maybe.
Yeah.
Not like very broad. We all think alike, so I think we would be a good fit, but like it not just being a dictatorship type thing. Yeah. I definitely think it would have some more flavor or like culture, quote unquote, to like have different attitudes, perspectives thrown into it. Like with videography, like I'm besides like having a broad skit, I mean, I truly want, obviously, whatever comes to your mind on like angles and what things should turn out like. That's what I'm always asking. Like, what should we do next for a transition?
I feel like in a lot of ways have our kind of area of expertise, or at least more like confidence in. Yeah. But then, like, we have, like you said, broad ideas of things or preferences on like different categories of things. So it's like we both work in video, but from very different aspects. Like, I've always been more of the editor. I've done some like in-person filming work, and it's kind of like the inverse with him. Like, he's done mostly in-person work and has a lot of like experience actually doing the filming, and obviously editing too. But we definitely have different preferences on how things should look or have looked, or like different types of work we've done in the past. And obviously he's like super more informed when it comes to photos and everything. But, even just getting our ideas or opinions, helps kind of alter the end product that he creates. And,
yes.
I just think when we combine all the minds together, it's obviously just a much more efficient machine.
I like the mixing pot, like tossing an idea out there and letting it get it like into the mix and y'all bouncing off, whatever. I think things turn out even that much cooler in my mind. Like, typically they usually do with all the videos we've done. Yeah. Like, I'll have an original idea of what I'm thinking it's going to look like, but once I toss it into that, imaginary mixing pot between y'all's two brains, it usually comes out fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, man, that was awesome. I can't wait to like level that up or see what's next. But I don't ever feel like I'm, ever held back or losing anything by any means. I want it to be a group effort. I want everybody to feel like, oh man, I got some hands in it. Like, I feel like this is part of my journey as well. Yeah, because I think that's truly the only way it's going to get bigger. I mean, I've been doing it by myself for a little while. Can I say I've done it 110% through that whole time? Hell no.
Yeah.
But, I definitely think things like the gym and everything that we're doing, it can only be bigger if we do it together. Yeah. Truly.
So, any updates with Gymflo?
Yes.
Kind of transition to that.
A little bit. And I think it's been a while. Like, we've had a few things drop. I don't even think was Overcome dropped in the last one?
I think we had it propped up.
I had it propped up, but I don't think we actually had like a episode to even talk about it.
Overcome's live. It's been live for a minute. It's been moving pretty well.
About a month,
a lot of feedback, a lot of awesome feedback. The flavor's fucking knockout.
It is knockout. I always feel like, and this same deal with 10,000, not to plug them, but I feel like it's hard sometimes when you're involved with the brand and you love the products. Yeah. It's almost like, please, I'm not being fake. It really is good. And it's one of those things, but it's like, the lemonade is fire. Like, I'll tell you, like, if...
you've been honest about some flavors.
I've been so honest about things. Like, I like lime more than Monster, or this or that. Like, I'll give you my real, like, opinion on things. Like, Red Apple, it doesn't taste good mixed to me. But it's, the lemonade is fucking knockout. It mixes amazing. I definitely even it's barely pump ingredients in it, but I feel a difference. Yeah. And, I think it's
Jake was mentioning that the other day when he was in here. He looked pretty pumped up for what he was. I haven't seen him in a while, so I was like, oh, he looks pretty decent. For, I'm sure, what he's been eating. I can only imagine. But that's Jake. So he's Tiger Woods. But he was like saying that he felt more of a pump from the new Overcome than the old one, which was like stacked with other pump ingredients.
So. Yeah.
And it could be because it's a little older of a product, whatever.
It would be the hydration.
I think hydration is a huge aspect of pumps. I think a lot of people overlook hydration, just water. Having water, like being fully hydrated, your muscles are water. So like if they're dehydrated, they're not going to be pumped, plump, and full.
Those electrolytes.
Pump, plump.
Love being pump and plump.
Hell yeah. Yeah, me too. But Overcome's dropped. New Overcome T. We have a few of those left, or quite a few actually. I don't know if we have like many of the like larges and XLs.
If you're looking for a shirt, keep an eye out for Friday, the Freaky Friday deal.
Yes, the Freaky Friday
There may
deal.
or may not be a T-shirt deal.
I totally forgot about that. I'm glad you're on here because I'm going to be a shit
keep
show.
you on track, man.
But yeah, this coming Friday, so this is going to drop tomorrow, Tuesday. This coming Friday, we'll have a Freaky Friday deal, which the whole month we're having Freaky Friday deals. So if you don't hit this one for some reason, which you'd be crazy.
Is spooky.
Yeah. You'd be crazy to miss this one because you'd be getting a mysterious shirt. But we'll leave it at that. Overcome Everything T. There are a few left on the site. Other updates as far as that. Green Monster should, fingers crossed, guys, it should be here.
You did get a shipping thing for it the other day, right? Or have you had it? Oh.
No.
For some reason
So the manufacturer, due to COVID, a lot of things have been backed up with that. They're trying to keep things like safe and organized, whatever, protocol. And understand, but they've definitely been slower than usual. So this past Green Monster order, they had let me know ahead of time. They're like, hey, usually it's 4 to 6 weeks. Definitely expect 6 weeks or close to 6 weeks. It's coming up on the 5th week now. We're in the 5th week. So fingers crossed on maybe getting a word next week, having a good 500 or 600, a little over 500 units show up. So we should have a good amount for a little bit of time and an updated flavor profile.
Yeah, which I'm excited to try.
Yeah.
I mean, we tried the sample, but I don't know if it's because we had it in the little Dixie cups.
Yeah.
Oh, we did, yeah.
I poured it in little Dixie
I
cups.
couldn't really even like notice a difference, but I think it was because it was literally like one sip, and we just had energy drinks, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to kind of give it a full go because, like I mentioned before, I do prefer the lime like flavor, but the Monster, at least the current formula, had a lot more of kind of like a salty kind of feel to it and grainy feel. So I did like dry scooping that. And mixed, it was good.
Yeah.
It's just different, you know.
Yeah. So if you liked it, you're going to love it even more when it comes back in.
Yeah.
Other than that, we do have some other things we're trying to work on. Just waiting on some balancing acts with funds because we are still a small, up-and-coming brand. It's a balancing act for new products. And
Deals on Depop right now? Or?
yes, we are doing a deal on that. So speaking of Trick2G, Trick2G is our collaborative flavor pre-workout, which is D-Pump. And D-Pump is practically all or nothing, just minus 2 ingredients. One's a stimulant and one's a focus ingredient, but it's still a hell of a product.
Yeah.
And the flavor's pretty great. It's Boosted Burst, which is like a mix between Skittles and Starburst. Pretty sweet, but I think it's very unique.
It. It's a very
I
knockout
always
flavor.
find with D-Pump, too, that it hits me differently than the other
think the
products.
beta-alanine-
I get the single.
The beta-alanine
The
hits hard
beta
in
hits
that shit.
harder and it hits fast.
I feel like when they were mixing it, they were just like,
Well,
a little bit more. Did we
Yeah, within like 8 minutes, like you're feeling that feeling a little bit.
if you want some tingles and
Feeling that
jingles,
feeling. Yeah.
you'll get it with D-Pump. And right now,
Crazy deal.
crazy deal. Use code STIMULUS at checkout, and that's going to get you 25% off D-Pump, which will knock it down to $30, $29.99 on the site. $30 pre-workout.
Basically all or nothing.
Strong one, too.
Basically
all or
getting all or
nothing.
nothing 25.
But it's a collaborative, obviously just Trick2G's special collaborative flavor of all or nothing. And you're getting it for $30 with Stimulus as the code during checkout. And rock and roll, because once they are gone, they are gone.
And while you're there, grab yourself an Overcome.
Hey, that's right. Stack it. And there's a stack option.
There's a stack,
So the code will work for that as well.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to touch on is...
Forgot he's here.
Give us a howl next time.
Yeah, that's true. So we were all running the program. What were our thoughts on Day of Reckoning program? Because we are now all off the program. We gave it a solid
It
month.
lasted
We
5
suck,
weeks.
dude.
I would say, we gave it a good month.
Yeah.
And I think that's about the time of, that's the life cycle of a typical program. But what are
crashed
our
and burned.
thoughts? And, what are we doing now differently?
Who wants to go?
I'll go first real quick because mine was probably the worst out of them all. Knocked the worst out. So I started off hot and heavy, felt great, and all the movements were feeling very good. But then like 2 weeks in, For some reason, my hip or glute, hamstring, and my left leg was locking up. Couldn't get any connection. So I didn't pretty much squat 3 out of the 5 weeks. And that was one of the main movements in that, was like a heavier squat too. So I just completely skipped that and was doing some BS. And then my shoulder was acting up. I'm just an old man falling apart. And I guess the final week, I caught some type of hell of a food poisoning from
Whole Foods.
From Whole Foods. And not like Whole Foods as in like paleo, like Whole Foods the store. And was shitting and puking my brains out for about an entire weekend. Thought I was gonna die, but I'm back, boys. Ain't nothing knocking me down. I'm like a roach.
I know, that's
ugly,
true.
and you can't kill me.
Ugly today.
Well, the funniest thing
Ding,
to
ding.
me with the whole food poisoning thing is you keep unrefrigerated chicken in your gym bag all day long.
You know
and then
that shit
eat it.
hit. If
So
I eat that
like
shit.
the fact that you ate Whole Foods and it messed you up like that is just so funny to me. That it's like, this is like the uppity,
healthiest
like
stuff,
hipster kind of like cuisine.
Yeah.
And then Austin eats and it like throws them all out of whack.
Yeah, it was too clean. It was one of like those scenarios where you're
Doesn't deserve it.
You're puking, or you're taking a crap, you're peeing out your butt, and next thing you know, you're like, oh shit, you gotta hit the flip, and then you're puking immediately, and you're like, you don't even have enough time to let the flush go down before you're puking into it,
Makes
and
you
it's
wanna
like
just sit in a stream.
Yeah,
Just
I told Griffin, I was like, yo, if I had a big enough drain in my shower to let things like go through it, I would have just sat there and puked and just did my thing for about 3 hours.
If only you wore a mask, man. You would have been good.
But that was, I will say, and I mentioned this too, that's like the only time in my life that I wish I had a bidet in my house.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was some cleanup to be needed.
Bro, I hate sending one.
The TMI, but like, yo, it happens. Don't go to Whole Foods. Fuck them.
Yeah.
We're not accepting
But
sponsorships.
anyway, on my side of the program, I went through it, and I pretty much followed it to a T. There's a few times where I'd switch up some exercises, or I worked out with a friend of mine last week and switched things up. But I mostly followed it. The reason I'm switching and gave up on it was because I felt like I was just sprinkling shoulders in to like the upper body workouts, because it was in the middle of my anterior day that I would have like 2 exercises. I'd do some like lateral raises and like a lateral raise variation, and then I'm like, oh, well, I get some anterior from like all the pressing, which is true, but not quite the same. And then on my posterior days, I just kind of throw in face pulls. I feel like quite the burp. Quite the burp. But anyway, I felt like I was just sprinkling them in, so shoulders felt like they weren't getting the attention they need to really grow. And then biceps, the same deal. I felt like they were good workouts, but they just weren't the same volume or intensity. So, in the way it's structured, I can quickly switch back, because it's, basically the same workouts, just instead of a chest and back, change that to an anterior. Instead of a shoulders and arms, as a posterior. So easy switch back to things for me. And then, just back on that. So I'm actually write up that program probably later tonight or early tomorrow, and start back with the chest and back tomorrow.
Nice.
For me, I liked it, and especially too when we first started, because it just did feel good to kind of get out of my own head a little bit of just, I always like to just make up my own program, but it was nice to have some other input. And it was nice too to kind of have those machines thrown in, because usually in other gyms or other things like that, I typically just stick with like barbells, dumbbells, cable, maybe some leg extension, leg press. But I just find I'm going to do almost like a return to form, I feel like now, to where I was just thinking back to where like the past couple years with school or certifications, I feel like it's just been drilled into my head so much of like study shows this, graph shows this is the right way to do it. And so in my head, like every single time I make a program or something like that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to start with the main compound. I'm going to do this kind of percentage, taper down to the isolation. It's going to be this kind of split, blah, 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 track this, keep it objective, always try to progress. And it's like, I just find now that I almost dread that so much that like any
makes it
day
monotonous.
That's different from that, I get so much of a better workout. And I was thinking back to like when I first like started lifting really in those first 2-3 years, just kind of getting, every day slightly different, kind of working on, exercises that you feel good, or switching things up to like make it engage more, or working on weak points. And I feel like I had so much better progress back then, enjoyed my lifts, had so much better pumps. Now I feel like I just kind of get real stiff. I start with the heavy compound and I'm kind of just like out of whack. I haven't gotten a pump, but I'm kind of tired after that first kind of exhausting exercise. So I definitely want to kind of return back to more so of a typical kind of bodybuilding routine, but then also, reading some of those old magazines we had. I really like a lot of what they have to say in there, because it's a lot of like introspection. And I think a lot of times too, what maybe some study says, or what's technically correct in some textbook or by some organization, like, everybody's different, and, your years of experience, maybe different injuries or strengths or other things like that. Like I find that, I move differently for a curl than Austin does, because it engages differently for me. So like, I really want to just kind of return to a little bit more of that, like, cerebral, I don't know what to call it, but like just, doing what feels good, and kind of working on more of like a flow through the exercise. Like the other day when I was doing chest, I did like pullovers and then dumbbell press, and I like almost having exercises prime you for the next exercise, or feeling like, exercise almost acts as a warm-up into something else, versus just like, 2-3 warm-up sets, your typical warm-up routine, and then bam, you're right under that bar, and then just like dying.
So where I'm at mentally is I've kind of gone through a phase of like, it kind of started with the more times I was running. I didn't get bored with bodybuilding, and I still loved it, but I kind of just wanted to switch some things up. Like I kind of wanted to diversify as far as like my training, like throw in some athletic movements. I kind of want to be, it's kind of like I've told you before, I'm just like, I have that addictive personality where it's like I get into something and I want to go all in, and I want to just be like great at everything. I want to like mix it all in, but your body just can't handle it. I can't run. I mean, I was able to run 3 times a week and maintain like my recovery and everything, but any more than that, or even if I was running those 3 days, if I ran like 6+ miles each of those days, it's like my body just gets burnt out. So there's only so much you can do.
You could
try. Shoot a little TRT and we'll be good. But like, for example, like, we just got a cool tire in for the gym, and I think that'll be a fun piece for people to kind of, toss around and stuff in their workouts.
He did.
You haven't?
No, I have not.
Haven't touched it.
Well, if it's not soaking wet, I'd go give it a run today. But
yeah, it's not too bad. Like I was doing sets of basically 16 flips with it, and
not counting, but
it's not. Who's counting? Yeah. But no, it's a decent weight, but it's not going to be too brutal, unless you're a weak little bitch. But anyway, point is, I was kind of diversifying myself too much, and I just wasn't sure, like, what I want to go into. Should I switch things up? Like, I just feel like I had one foot in, one foot out. But to your point, I feel like I want to go back to just very traditional Brock, like a little bit more volume, more bodybuilding focused. Like I was talking to Maddie about it yesterday. When I was in high school, only a year ago now, like 2 years ago.
Throwback.
I know, throwback. But I used to.
What song was on the radio back then?
TikTok. Anyway, I used to watch a YouTube video before every workout. After school, I'd come home, snack, play Xbox, whatever. And then like the hour before I, work out, I eat my pre-workout meal. And while I was eating it, I'd watch a YouTube video of either like, sometimes it was like, a pro like lifting. Sometimes it was like one of those Machiavelli motivation videos. But the premise was it was a workout that was the same body part as to what I was training, especially for leg day. This was like crucial for me mentally to like get locked in the zone. And I think something so simple as that, like watching a 5-minute video of someone else like lifting before you go and lift, not only are you more excited, but sometimes you see an exercise you want to try. Yep. You just get so much more focused.
You see the intensity too.
Yeah. Now you come. I come in, I get good workouts in. I'm pumped. I'm sore later. I'm working hard, but I just feel like, when I see that, I'm so much more excited and amped up to train, and I'm like, hell yeah. Like, I just watched like a Chris Bumstead video for the first time in months, and I was just, just seeing someone else of just like pure excellence, you just get more excited. So I feel like, I was telling Maddie yesterday in the car, I think before I work out now, while I'm sitting taking pre or whatever, sipping that sweet All or Nothing by Gymflo, I'll, turn on a video, just something short, I think it'll get me amped up. And as far as programming, again, I keep going one foot in, 1 foot out, blah, blah, blah. And I do want to get into jiu-jitsu at some point, but I think those gyms won't be normal until COVID's done, which won't be another year or two. Yeah. So
we'll just have to start a fight club here.
We'll look up a YouTube video, how to jiu-jitsu, and we'll do it right there.
Yeah, but point is, since that's going to be a delayed thing, which I'm glad I never started it because then it wouldn't have come to fruition. But with that in mind, that it will be at least another year out before I even start that, I'm just going to go back all into bodybuilding, really focus on it and love it.
Get nice and slow for fighting.
Yeah, get nice and slow as fuck. But anyway, so I'm excited to dive back into that. I think as far as I'll touch on two things and I'll stop talking. I feel like I'm rambling. But,
yes. No, I'm just
one, I want to mix in some interesting training techniques that are more advanced, force reps and isometric holds. Like John Meadows mixes in those a lot. I like those for leg curls. You knock out your working set.
I mean, somebody's up in there curling the weight for it.
They're grabbing my nuts while I'm curling. Yeah.
Well, I mean, but let's say for
force reps would
reps,
be you're helping me force a few extra. I don't know exactly what exercises, but things like that. I'm not a huge drop setter anymore, or a huge supersetter. But I do like the isometric holds on certain exercises, like the leg curl. John Meadows had done it before with a lot of people where, you do your working set and then about halfway, on the rep, hold that for 15 seconds if you did 15 reps, something like that. And there's just a really good kind of feeling at the end of that. And whether that leads to more growth or not, I don't know. But, it's like you talked about, going by feel. What makes you feel good in your workout. And a lot of times when it comes to muscle growth, strength is a different ballgame. But when it comes to growth, honestly, the bigger the pump, the more sore you are, the more intense you are. I feel like that just almost equates to muscle growth every time. But
one thing I would say that I've been thinking about the past couple days is, because I haven't really been writing anything down, which I've been really liking to, because it's nice to just not have that kind of interrupting you every set. Yeah. But the other thing is, I had just gotten so used to having a goal of okay, rep range 5 to 8, rep range 10 to 12, that all I think about is this many from 10, this many from 12, this many from 5.
I feel you.
And I've been working on a lot more now, just making each rep just the best it can be, squeezing as best I can be, if I'm doing a curl, trying to make that one rep all in my bicep, almost getting to the point of even closing your eyes, other things like that. But it's been making it so much better for me that it's not just just get to the end of my set almost.
Yeah,
it's kind of just living in that almost present state, if that makes sense. Yep. And it's really making workouts feel much more meditative, or I'm very centered.
Yeah.
And I like that feeling a lot because I had lost it. And I think a big thing too is also kind of not to just keep plugging Gymflo, but we'd gotten all those energy drink cases, and I'd just been doing that as pre-workout for the past couple weeks. But just the past few days, returning just to pre-workout, I get so much better focus, and I'm not all over the place while I'm working out. Because a lot of times too, if I'm just on an energy drink, as I'm in mid-set, I'm okay, well, I wonder if someone's messaged me, or other things like that, to where I'm kind of distracted waiting for the set to be over. But now I feel a little salted over calm, a little bit of T-pump, or all or nothing, and then I'm just all in, baby.
Yeah, I think you really touched on is the little things like that, making every rep, focusing on one rep at a time, which is easy to just say that phrase.
Yeah.
But actually doing it really does make a difference, especially when it comes to those isolation type exercises, your side raises, your curls, your tricep pushdowns. Yeah. I think really making each rep intense. And I think that just comes down to mental focus. And that's what I mentioned, the YouTube videos. That'll get you there mentally. And when you go into there, I made the post yesterday, training with a purpose. And I felt like it was so easy for me to just type the caption. But then it's shit,
up.
Am I living it? It's
yeah.
I really need it. Sure, I'm getting it done. And phony. This guy's a big fat phony. But I don't know. That's the last thing I'll say about that. Yeah. But about training. But one thing I wanted to touch on too that you mentioned, and we kind of touched on with the gym, is you do have certain exercises you can do here. There's a huge multitude, but it isn't probably the amount of exercise you can do at other gyms, a Gold's, because of either the certain number of machines we have, or different things like that. However, it is very exciting, though, when we do get new things in, whether it is a new machine, a new cable attachment, things like that, to where it is so exciting to be here. Of course, because it's, it's my gym, and, all of us have basically had a hand in creating this. But I think even from an outside perspective, when members are here, when we get something new, it's like, oh, shoot, like, I can't wait to throw this in my program,
Yeah, I love testing. Like, when the few pieces, like, last pieces that we got in, like the cable or whatever, like, I love getting on it just to feel it and see how good it was.
Like, I know when we get that glute drive, everyone's going to be on that.
I definitely need to be hitting that.
All of our clients are probably going to be using the glute drive. I probably will use it.
Building some cakes.
Yeah.
Well,
juicy.
I wanted to hit on you talking about rep ranges and stuff like that, because before the day of reckoning, that's how my training has always been from day one. Even when I started lifting with a few of my bodybuilding friends that got me into bodybuilding 8 years ago.
Yeah.
You'd go in and, like, today, for example, we talked, and the past few days we've been talking about how we've been training and going off feel, what feels good, where I'm feeling a connection, more so pump.
Definitely.
And, I was getting in the monotonous, like, all right, I've got 10 to 12 reps to hit on this one exercise. Let me just hit my 12 and, I can move on to the next exercise.
Yeah.
Not that I wasn't going balls out on some of them, but I just, like, at the end of the end of some of the workouts, I'd be like, damn, did I waste that last set because I could have maybe went up another 10 pounds, or I could have did a few more reps with that weight instead of just stopping at 12 because that was the program type deal.
Yeah, I get that way too.
Today, on my last few exercises, I was doing a lot of cable flies, and now that I think back, some sets I was doing 12 reps, some sets I was doing 16 reps.
Yeah.
And it was like all about the feel and the pump, where I was feeling it, what reps if I didn't really count, what reps like really, or if I got to that point where I was starting to like really focus and nail in at like rep 12, I was like, let me get another 4 reps in if like now that I have it dialed in.
Yeah.
So I think, not to say I'm like some big guy that everybody should be like, oh, that's the body, but that's how I've always trained. And I really, I felt like I made some decent progress without really tracking every single set of rep, It's more so just knowing that, like, that was it.
It's funny, too, that, like, sometimes as life goes on, you kind of do things that you think are the right way or something like that, but you always wind up kind of returning to, like, what just feels right to you.
Yep.
And maybe you take something from something else you learn along the way, but I think there is a lot to be said about just kind of finding what feels good and what feels natural and letting that grow to the best of its ability. Because, in a parallel sense, there's been, I think it was maybe some Andy Frisell podcast or something like that, but he talked about too, just even with business or something like that, really just focusing on the things that you are good at and not trying to be like the master of everything to be able to do it all yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that, in a lot of ways, there's always room for improvement in other ways, but, the things that just feel right and feel good to you, like, I could never be a power lifter because it just doesn't feel good to me. And if I try to force myself into that, then am I really, like, doing myself a service? And am I really, like, being, entering that world well? Or should I just do what feels good to me and try to just maximize that as best I can too?
Yeah.
So I think some of that stuff, kind of like what we were talking about a little bit ago, it's funny sometimes how you just get lost, but then when you return back to that kind of path that you were originally on, it feels good to kind of just feel like, okay, well, now I've been on that other side, and now I know, like, the way I need to be again. Because the other day too, I just doing a leg day, I did leg curl, like sumo squat, leg press, and then leg extension. Just 4 exercises, and 3 of those machines. And I felt such a great hamstring, like, soreness to where it wasn't even a tightness. It was just like, wow, these are engaged, to where I usually do like RDL squat, and I feel like that kind of wrecks my CNS or like my core more, to where my back hurts the next day usually. But this was like, okay, well, maybe I need to get out of my own head and like not feel like I have to do this bar movement every single time or something like that.
Question for y'all, because I've always kind of, I know, I'll explain the way I've trained, but I know Jeff Nipper just dropped a new video on it. I haven't watched it though. But how are y'all on the idea of, like, since you were talking about rep ranges, like training to failure or near failure every kind of set and just going by feel like that, or leaving some in the tank and like kind of where you fall into there? Because I feel like what I generally end up doing is I do kind of stick to a general rep range just to really not guide how many reps I do, but more what weight I'm, selecting. That, I should select a weight where I'm in that range. And I usually am doing reps that leave 1 to 2 reps in the tank, usually 1 to 1.5, and then the last set usually will end up becoming either the last rep I can get, or I'll push to failure on that set. It's generally how I end up training, to where I am like an RP 8.5 to 9ish if you had to put it to a number on most exercises.
I usually find that I like to work to where I feel like I'm failing in that rep range
every set,
but trying to just engage, like if it's a tricep movement or something, I don't want to feel like then my shoulders are taking over or something like that. But what I will do, if I feel like I still got more in the tank but might cheat, then I'll just do a hold or like a pause or some sort of tempo within that last rep or so to just feel like I'm getting the most I can out of it.
But do you do that every set?
Usually, yeah.
Okay, every set.
For me, the way I have trained, and I do want to change this or try and tweak it to see if things change, is I usually go to failure on my last set.
Yeah.
The first 3 sets, sometimes I'll do 6 sets of something. We're now talking about how we feel during a workout. Sometimes it might be 3, sometimes it might be 6. If it's hot, it's hot. I'm hitting it.
Yeah.
But usually I'll do all right, I'll have something in my head before I start. I'm like, all right, I'm going to try and aim for 12. And if I'm get to 12, I'm like, oh shit, it's feeling good. Yeah. I'll go to 15 or 16. Or even, I rarely ever take anything to 20. But, there's a few things that I'll do for that. But the last set, though, I'm like, all right, this is the last one. I'll push it usually till failure, or one right before it, to where I'm not stuck.
Well, a lot of my reasoning is because, let's say I'm shooting for an 8 to 10 range on an incline press. Well, maybe I do feel good that first set, and I have the energy. It's the first working set. I can get 10. But then the next 2 sets, because I push so hard, 6. It's a 7 or it's a 6. Versus if I left 1 or 2 reps in the tank, maybe I get 8 or 9, then the next 2 sets I can get another 8 or 9. So and then by the time I get to that last set, I know I have no more working sets. I can just go all out.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where, I know I've talked to both y'all about this, and Griffin, you've seen it more firsthand when we train together, is the kind of back off sets I do. And I don't even know where I got this idea, but generally how I end up training on most of my movements, especially my compounds, is 3 working sets to where that last, they're kind of in that 8.5 to 9 RPE range, and then I kind of drop the weight, I guess, comparatively to 70% of that working set, and then I'll kind of push towards a higher rep range that kind of leads me real close to failure, 1 rep in the tank, if that. And I feel like I do that because I can go kind of a little bit safer than working on my heaviest working set, so I'm never I'm confident to push towards failure because it's lighter versus maxing out and giving it your all, especially when it comes to my compound movements or even the T-bar row.
Yeah.
I'll throw my back out or something. So
I like that idea and that style. And me and Griffin talked maybe 2 days ago about it, speaking about the old school magazines. And the past few times back when I was training at Laburnum more often, I would almost, for especially legs, I would pre-exhaust my legs before I'd squat. Mm-hmm. So I would either get on the hack squat or the leg extension, or I'd do lunges, something of that sort. And then I would squat almost last or middle to last, to where everything was nice and warmed up. I had plenty of blood, and I was almost a little, not fatigued, but I didn't have to use much weight to make my legs work and quiver. And I felt more optimal during those workouts because man, I had my muscles, every little thing, fiber firing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I almost like the concept where you're almost not pre-exhausting, but you're really stimulating the muscle, and then you're dropping, backing off, and trying to go push through some reps or volume with that. And I think I'm going to try and switch to more so that once my legs come back. I need new legs.
You get amputated leg.
I don't know about y'all.
Lieutenant Diane.
Yeah.
I almost feel like I have reverse ego sometimes with certain exercises, to where some of my favorite exercises are ones that 5-10 pounds will knock me out with that muscle. I would much rather do a single arm cable extension and be dead in my tricep with 15 pounds than do a V-bar press with the cable and have 90 pounds but not really feel like I'm getting full
I'm the same
engagement, if that makes sense.
I think it's
I love finding those exercises to be able to hit you a different way.
I think I feel the same way with those because when I'm doing them on Instagram, I don't have to feel kind of and again, I usually 95% of the time, don't give a fuck about what I post or what people's opinions are. But it's like I can feel confident posting a chest-supported 10-pound side raise rather than posting my squat. And I'm like, there's so many people stronger than me on this. You know what I mean? So you get that kind of, yeah. And so it's one of those exercises where you can go, I know the weight's not heavy, but that's not what the focus is.
It's the motion of the ocean.
Yeah, and I still, my problem, I'll be honest, and maybe I can work out of this, and maybe it's partly I still have these strength goals I just want to hit in my lifetime, but I still have just enough ego to where I still want to squat first, even though I know it's definitely working my legs, but it's not like I feel it in the same way I do a leg press, a lunge, a leg extension. It's definitely not isolating it in that way, and I'm pushing a weight that I'm not going to control in that manner. It's more about getting it up with good form, but I still hold on to just enough ego that I still want to focus on giving that first, that man compound like my all strength-wise, and then moving on. But maybe I'll grow out of that. Maybe it's my youth.
Well, I definitely think, it's good to have the goals, and I still have a goal like for some lifts, but at some days I'll show up and I'm like, I don't even care if I ever get to that number.
Well, strength isn't even like my main goal. It's not like I'm a powerlifter, but I still. I don't know. You still have that ego. You still want some respectable numbers. Like I feel like I'm owning a gym. I should be at least putting up some decent strength numbers, or be a big guy.
Yeah.
We'll hit that second plate one day.
Yeah. I know.
But I agree with you. But at the same time, the way my body's been, at least for me personally, I just want to feel good when I do things. Like just deep down feel good. Which lately it's been tough. Some days are rougher than others. Can't have all those sunny days without a few rainy ones. But I did get a question, not to switch too much gears, about lifting on our Instagram, which every Sunday I usually post a questions box on my IG. So you make sure to give me a follow, or any of us. Hopefully they reshare it. Sometimes they don't. But it's all good. We did get a question about lifting and how it affects our mental health for us personally. And does it? For me, it does. I definitely think, and when I originally got the question, it was yesterday, obviously, and I was like, man, what would I do if I never if I didn't lift? Where would I be? Like, I would probably be drinking a lot, because that's what I used to do. Not because I'm an I probably would have been alcoholic by now, but because I need something to do.
Yeah.
I think it gives you something to do, and it takes away from whatever hours you would just waste. Like we talked about it. We were talking about it last week. When you were like, I have a free day, but I feel like I'm wasting it because I'm not doing anything. And it's kind of like when you don't have something to fill your schedule, you kind of just fill it with fluff. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of takes away from me, 2 hours of fluff now becomes 2 hours of working out. So not only is it something productive, but makes me happy. I love it. Keeps me healthy. Does all these things for me. And it also kind of gives you a sense of purpose or goal. Even before I had the gym, before I was, doing better financially, if I just had school, it's something exciting I can look forward to each day. I'm like, I can't wait to see if I can press the 60s today. Or, I can't wait to hit this PR. In a few months, my biceps will be a little bit bigger. It gives you some, purpose and accomplishment without really having to kind of set it up and work for it, in a sense that, it's not easy to kind of own a business, set up a business, get things in order, blah, blah, blah. But lifting, it's kind of like anyone can improve their body. Yep. Not everyone has the opportunity, the creativity, the finances to start a business, and that's a lot longer planning and build up to do to then get those kind of accomplishments and those that fulfillment and that purpose later. Everyone can have purpose in lifting because it's bettering themselves, both mentally, physically, appearance-wise, strength-wise, whatever your goals are. So I think that's why it is such a big thing for people's mental health. And I've never struggled with it mainly, but maybe I just found it at an early enough time that I didn't fall in kind of a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
That is one thing I would say with lifting is with other skills or hobbies, you can probably have as much enjoyment in your day-to-day. But I will say it's a great balance, not only of effort and reward, but also you can get just as much satisfaction with long-term progress as you can with short-term progress, to where I can feel good about my efforts in a 6-month period, and I can also feel good about my efforts in an hour workout, if that makes sense. To where, like, if I'm a painter, I might be that might be something I'm doing every day, but like that is something that I feel like you have to look back like 6 months prior to be like, oh, I improved, to where it's not just like an everyday kind of, okay, this was a great workout kind of feeling. And I feel like lifting is one of those hobbies that you can really see like day to day. Oh, this felt good. This feels like I'm going in the right direction. Like, oh, if I add this in or do this differently, this is feeling like it's making things better. Other things like that. I would also say it's like just the right balance of individual and community as well, whereas a lot of sports aren't really like that. And I feel like, too, it kind of sets that mental groundwork to apply over into other things. So where, like, I find now that if I have the mentality of, like, okay, well, let me finish this set or, like, work until through the pain to, like, get to this point, then a lot of times I'm like, okay, well, I'll finish this chapter of schoolwork for the night, or like I'll put this load of laundry away or wipe down the kitchen or other things like that, because, I think back to my workout. It's as corny as it sounds, but like you do think about that kind of snowball effect of like, oh, well, I put this amount of effort in here. It's like the whole idea
of make your bed.
I was disciplined here, so let me carry it over into this way. And I feel like, too, lifting is so much of a, like, you really have to kind of try to maximize. I think there's two things, actually. One is, especially because we all kind of do things relative to aesthetics as well, I think that you prioritize kind of that higher standard in your life for lifting. Like, you want to be a cut above the rest. You want to be the best version of yourself. So then you almost try to apply that into like your food of like, okay, well, if I'm going to try to make the best workout, let me try to give myself the best like bang for my buck with nutrition, or get the best night's sleep, or other things like that, to where it carries over into so much more and makes you kind of cognizant of the way you dress or present yourself or other things like that, to where it really does like kind of just put you in a good state of mind to where you feel like you want to make kind of everything the best it can be in some way or another, or kind of, there is I think, and last kind of point, but realizing that, whether you do or whether you don't do something or put the work in, or whether you do try hard or don't try hard, it's only going to matter to you. Yeah. And I think that there's something important about that, of realizing that, like, if a week passes and I do stay consistent and work out, good. If a week passes and I don't, like, nobody else cares one way or another, but that time will have passed one way or another. So I think that that's something that with lifting, that it really kind of puts you into a good frame of mind to where you do have that long-term planning, but you put forth that daily effort that then in so many other ways it carries over into, you're kind of maximizing your day, and also like not letting that day kind of make or break you in one way or another, because you also have that long-term goal in mind. It's hard to articulate with some of that stuff, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, you said a lot, and I was trying to like collect all my thoughts on it. But there's two things I wanted to hit on. Was one, I know we've kind of joked about it before, how we kind of look at it about life kind of overall as like almost like a game, like a video game, and you're like the character. And so it's like lifting is kind of a way that you can like upgrade your character. You can make yourself, like, just lifting makes yourself stronger. You look better. You can go in, like, focus on your hygiene. It's like you can upgrade yourself by just doing these certain habits and these tasks. You can learn a new skill. You can be like, I'm into like coffee. I feel like that's almost like an upgraded like knowledge base. Or it's like when you read more, it's like you're upgrading your character in a simple sense, but it's just self-improvement is the simple word for it. But lifting is one of those things that I think knocks out so much things in one kind of hour session. The other thing I really like that you said is like there is the short-term and the long-term benefits. And I think so many people focus on the long-term, but I always feel like, people ask, how do you stay motivated all the time? It's the stupidest question in my opinion, because you just have to love it. You have to enjoy working out. You're not going to do it forever. You're really going to torture yourself for the rest of your life, like working out. Like, I get it if, you have a short-term, like, weight loss goal, right? Like, not everyone loves cardio. Most of the bodybuilders, they do the cardio for a short-term, gain of, like, looking better, leaning down. They don't love it, but they can do it. But you can do that for a short period of time. You can't do that forever. Yeah. And so you have to really, like, love the process. And as you mentioned, look forward to each workout, be proud of each workout, and be excited, like I mentioned, about like, oh, I can't wait to like lift these 60s, or you had a great pump and you had a PR on your pull-ups. You got more pull-ups today. It's like, that's exciting, but what's also exciting is 4 months down the road when you have a bigger back, or you look better in the mirror. And so there is like such a perfect balance of short-term and long-term gains to where you don't know how good you may look in 4 years, but at least you can be excited about each workout, and next thing you know, you look in the mirror and you're like, damn, that's freaking rewarding.
The other thing too that I want to bring up that kind of reminded me of what you said is there's such an interesting, I feel like once you become immersed in it as far as lifting goes, you have to kind of go through some sort of pain or discomfort to really feel like a good sense of accomplishment. And I feel like that almost carries over into so many other things where maybe you might start reading, maybe you might, do more around your house or your job, or, struggle through work, but that's fulfilling work to you, or other things like that, to where you don't really want to be complacent in one way or another. And I also find too that, with the exception of a cheat meal here or there, I don't really find, and this is kind of just carried over from lifting, but anything that gives me like a dopamine rush or like an unrewarded gratification, I kind of find that I don't really like to like, video games.
Kind of search for pain, right?
Yeah, I don't, or like, just gluttony or other things like that. I just find that like that form of pleasure is really just, not really fulfilling to me. And I much prefer things, hobbies, activities, spending your day doing things that like, it's fulfilling, but it's like challenging at the same time, or it's not enjoyable, if that makes sense. Yep. So I don't know. There's like a different kind of echelon of like, because you always wonder, like when people ask, how do you stay motivated or this or that? It's like, I think about almost the opposite end of lifestyle of like, getting off of work, of a job that you don't like, and eating food that's not good for you, and just wasting your time in front of the TV the rest of the night, and staying up too late, and then
don't pick on the average American citizen.
Just kind of like going from little small bumps of like insignificant pleasure throughout the day to kind of offset things that you don't really care for long term. And to me, it's almost the inverse of what we kind of do, of like, that short term discomfort, but the long term gratification. And I feel like once you kind of break out of that, or kind of get a taste of what that's like, you never want to go back to the other way, if that makes sense.
For sure. So. And I love that you hit on the, almost strength through struggle type mindset earlier.
That's a Gymflo motto.
For sure. It sure is. The remaining sizes plug. But, it's a good way for me, I guess, and probably most people, for me, lifting is a hardener of some sort, mentally and physically.
Yeah.
It does transition into other aspects of your life, especially mine. It builds your body up. And your body, at the end of the day, is the only thing you can really control. So I think for most, and for even me, I'm sure y'all could answer to whatever y'all feel like, that just getting your body moving, getting in here, whether it is a great workout or a crap workout, it's still something that's getting your body moving and something that I can control and knock out, push my body through to try and harden it, become better. And I think it's like one of probably the greatest antidepressants you could probably do for yourself.
True.
Just move your body.
Yeah, I always feel like
it's the only thing you can control.
They'll say like, depression's going up, and it's a big problem. And I think mental health is a big problem, but I feel like two simple things would drastically decrease it. Making everyone exercise, not like force everyone, but like if everyone would exercise more and everyone would eat better for themselves.
And then just get into like some sort of regular routine, I feel like.
Yeah. Too. You'd feel better. You'd look better. You'd have a sense of purpose. Boom. Like, I just feel like Dr. noticeably, Brown. Yeah. You gotta email me for more information.
$200.
Let's bring in these questions. I'll kick it off. Oh, yeah. This is Answer the Internet. Just stupid fucking questions, basically. Don't take them serious. We kind of just fool around with these. Anyway, first question, Answer the Internet. If you were a general in the Civil War and you could get a T-Rex or a modern war tank to fight on your side, what are you taking?
Guess you're answering first, right?
All right. I'm taking the T-Rex, mainly because I think either one's going to win the war, but I'd like to see the T-Rex just like rampage through. I think it's a lot... maybe, you know what? I don't know if I could say it's going to move faster than the tank, but I think it would just strike so much just fear, and it would be pretty badass to just kind of be flinging people around. I think it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I would probably say that too, because I think that there's something to, like, thinking back to Game of Thrones. You know, one side had the spear cannons or other things like that, the men, but the other side had a dragon. And I feel like when you're standing on the battlefield and you hear that dragon roar and don't know where it's coming from, it's like you're going to piss your pants. And you have the element of surprise on your side too, to where if that T-Rex tears out of the forest and like snatches up some soldier or something like that, good luck turning the tank on me in time before I'm back in the woods again. So.
Yeah. I'd probably...
Good luck, Robert E. Lee. I got a T-Rex.
I'm going tank. Reason being, and even though like I'm taking everything into consideration, ammo not being a unlimited supply because you're back in the old times, so like you got whatever ammo's in the tank. But after I'm out of ammo, I'm gonna run you over, and your little muskets aren't gonna shoot through my tank.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm plowing you over.
Good luck
Am I running out of
standing all
fuel?
in a line of
Yeah,
formation.
I guess I would run out of fuel, but after that, I'm just gonna sit in there and I guess hold out until y'all go away. I don't know, but I do think for the enjoyment aspect, T-Rex is gonna whoop some ass and be like cool to watch. Yeah. And who wouldn't like kill to say, "Oh, I got a pet T-Rex"?
Yeah, that's true.
Who's up next?
A Griff.
If you could have an endless supply of anything, what would it be?
Chick-fil-A.
That's a great
I picked
question.
that question not knowing. Usually with these, I kind of like, I read it, and I, of course, have like an instant kind of reaction. And so, hearing it the second time, usually I'll kind of either just like base it off my first reaction. But this one, I didn't have any ideas that first hit my brain. And so I was like, okay, let one of you guys read it, and let's see what pops in my brain.
Would it be dumb to say free time? Like, is that a cop-out answer? Because I've always wanted to just be able to pause life and then think you have all the time in the world
I don't think you want
to like
that.
maximize some sort of skill and then play again.
Because I'd procrastinate even more
Yeah,
if I had more free
I
time.
think you'd lose your mind if you had free time, and you wouldn't use it as much as you think you do.
I think
like when
I
I
need to
get
be-
free time, I need something to do. And yeah, you could like learn a skill, and that'd be fun. But then eventually, you're like, I don't know. You need some sense of like time restraint. I feel like to get things done in a productive manner.
True.
Especially with you getting photos done.
I think I'd procrastinate.
Take them all
If I
day.
knew I had unlimited free time, I'd be like, well, shit, I'm not going to do it right now. I'll do it later.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Then I would probably say organic grass-fed steak.
Damn.
Nice.
Good
Because
choice.
then I would never have to pay for it, but I could always get high-quality meat that I could eat every single day.
I'll give you some high quality.
Ah, man. I'm probably going to go because I spend a lot of money on it. Energy drinks.
I thought you'd say that. Yeah. My only thing is, if I had unlimited, sure I could have like 1-2 a day, but you'd have to limit yourself.
Would it be a high dollar one, or would you just go like?
Well, I'm hoping it would just be like, hey, I
Right,
get to
yeah.
select whatever I want for
True,
the day
yeah.
type thing. But, and if for some reason I just got sick and tired of them, then I'd maybe sell them. I don't know. I'd
Yeah,
figure
that's
something.
a good
I'd try and like be productive out of
I
my
don't know
choice.
if you get sick of them if you could change the flavor
Yeah.
of brand so much.
But, it would save me some money and something that I do use every day almost.
yeah, I thought about energy drinks. I think Chick-fil-A would just hit.
Yeah,
them.
next option for me would have been some source of food, for sure. Pizza probably. But anyways, on to my question. Let's see what we got here. It is debate the internet. If you were continuously getting attacked by eagles one at a time, how many could you kill before they got you? So I'm assuming bald eagles because that's what it looks like in here. So those bitches are mean and nasty and usually big. They're bigger than they look from like far away.
Yeah.
Them things are like pterodactyls. So I'm thinking 3. I could probably take care of 3.
I
thinking
have
0, man.
a huge fear of birds of prey. I could never imagine holding one on my wrist.
Yeah.
Because just looking into that thing's eyes
They're mean.
and like seeing the talons and beak,
Big
3?
talent.
and just thinking
Well, I'm not
about that
one at a
tearing
time.
into you.
So I probably
Do you have
I'd
any
probably be like
weapons?
dead by the third or fourth one. I'm gonna be probably pretty cut up and like bleeding out. Maybe.
If I
Do you
have
have
a
a
gun,
stick
I
or-
could probably get through a few.
well,
Would
on
this just
the
be
picture,
barehanded?
he's looking like he's got some boxing gloves on.
I think we're talking bare hands, and if we're talking bare hands, I'm going with 0.
Yeah, honestly, because if you think about trying to strike at them,
I'm getting torn.
they'd
up.
just be tearing at you.
Yeah, you'd have. Even if you grabbed its talons, its beak would get you.
Bro, that thing's gonna tear you
And even
apart.
the talons, it's like, what are you going to try to break it or something? Like,
Yeah, I don't even know how to go about killing it. I'd have to choke it out.
Yeah,
I'm getting chilled. I don't like thinking about this.
I mean they're big.
I didn't know that was his fear. We'll have to bring one in one day.
Yeah,
I don't like birds. There's something that and like alligators. I feel like they're a callback to like a primal.
Oh yeah, like
dinosaur
alligators are
animal.
meant to be left alone, not be pets. Like they're just like barbaric beasts.
And I just feel like, certain things, like a tiger, I could have that as a pet, but I just don't like looking into that thing's eyes. It's like it sees you
It's meant
as
to kill.
Yeah, something that it will kill. Yeah, so
You're not afraid of a tiger? Bro, a tiger or lion?
you raise
that
Thing's like
I would be
600
grizzly,
pounds.
man.
That would rip me apart.
I could be,
It'd be different if I raised it from
Got
a
Joe
cub.
Exotic right here.
Maybe.
but not birds. There's something. Birds are almost like
You can't
fish
trust
in
a
the
bird.
sense of like they don't have like an internal consciousness. They're just like they respond to stimulus.
Now the real question
Please
is,
move.
how
and
many-
I will eat you.
how many Buddhas could you take out? They were just coming at you.
I would just let myself be consumed.
Take me.
Please.
Take me to the promised land.
Eyes looking both ways, just coming at you.
Yeah, that's true.
Where's he going?
Well, I've been playing around with him lately because I'll just like try to
see if
touch
he
his
can-
nose, and he doesn't even notice.
Doesn't
until-
see it coming.
Yeah,
Got a big blind spot in the middle.
yeah. I know how you defeat an army of Buddhists is to just stand
Right in the
like
middle.
right in the
Still in the
middle, and they
middle.
just
Like
run
flat.
through
You
you.
just come straight at them, they go blind.
All right, guys.
Yeah, so I guess that is it for the show today. Hopefully this was a good one.
Hopefully it works.
Yeah, hopefully it works. We're going to find out, and hopefully you all enjoy it. Let us know if you have any questions about it or would like to know more into the future shows. Drop it down in the comments below. And obviously follow us all on social media because I will be dropping questions boxes on Sundays. And that's it for this one, guys. We are out of here.
See you.
See ya.